Hi folks, the Filipina here, and back by popular demand is a brand new mailbag video where we get to hear what's troubling you folks, as well as my best advice to get you out of it. I know I said I was gonna do these once a month, so it's long overdue. But when you see what we've got lined up for today, I think you'll forgive me. We have a guy whose Filipina girlfriend sent a sexy photo to him and his best friend. A woman who tried to surprise her fiancé with some very unwelcome body art. And a guy whose Filipina partner follows him into the bathroom. This is gonna be good. So the first email is from Trent B. from California. Trent says, I think I know what I need to do, but I want to get your opinion in case I'm making too much out of this. I went on a dating site and I really took my time to find the perfect Filipina. Is there such thing? She didn't come across as aggressive and she didn't seem like she was in a panic to find a man, which is something that impressed me. It was almost like she was just sticking her toe in the dating pool and never asked me for money and never tried to speed up our relationship. She was all the things I was looking for. Shy, conservatively dressed, no TikTok account, at least not that I could find, religious, no kids, and actually had a job. All good so far, right? The only negative I could find was her English wasn't that great, and she was shy about doing video chats, but I talked her into it, and sometimes we ended up just sitting there staring at each other and smiling. We spent a few months chatting on the site and finally on Facebook too. And during that time, I admit that I fell in love with her. We both used the L word, but we hadn't started talking about marriage yet. I was supposed to come see her this June, and we were both excited about the upcoming visit. I know you've always said to meet a woman in her own environment before getting into deep, and that's what I was trying to do. Okay, well, it sounds like you already got into deep the moment you said I love you to a woman on the dating site. But I understand the temptation, so let's see what went wrong. She would often send me pictures of herself doing chores around the house or playing with her dog. But one day she sent me a photo of her sitting on the couch, wearing a tank top with a very sexy look in her face. At least it was to me. And when I looked closer, one of her nipples was half exposed. I had a weird reaction. I certainly liked what I was seeing, but it just didn't fit the image of this shy and conservative woman that I thought I knew. I thanked her for the picture, but I didn't make a big deal about it and just pushed it to the back of my mind. A couple weeks later, my subscription for the dating site came due, but before I canceled it, I happened to check to see if there was any recent activity on her profile. Uh-oh. I never demanded that she close her account because this was still kinda new to me. And every time I checked in the past, the only time she was signed in was the same time we were chatting. Her last activity was 10 days prior, but we hadn't used it in about a month. Alarm bells started ringing, and the first thing I wanted to do was ask her why she was still on it. I thought about it for a while and figured that if I confronted her, she'd just deny it or say it was her sister or something like that, so I tried something else. I asked my best friend to join the same site and tried to contact her. He did, and long story short, in no time at all, he was not only chatting with her, but she sent him the same exact picture that I tried to forget. Now, to be fair, I saw their communications and there was no talk of love or heavy flirtation. But why was she even talking to him? And why in the world would she send that private photo? Oh no, the nipple that started a war. Or the nipple that launched 1,000 ships. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Okay, I immediately contacted her and told her I caught her red-handed. Instead of trying to explain herself, she just went silent and blocked me. And as painful as it was, I decided to just put the whole thing behind me. Well, guess who just popped back up, wanting to start over? My first reaction is to let sleeping dogs lie. But the truth is, I still love her. I know you're gonna tell me to run away as fast as I can, but am I maybe overreacting? And can you think of any reason why her actions don't mean she's just scamming me? Wow, Trent, you sure ask a tough question. Not because I don't have any theories, but because I have too many theories. Now, you're right that most people hearing your story are gonna immediately say, dump her, like right now. But you asked me to come up with possible reasons why her actions might be innocent. And yes, I can actually think of quite a few. That doesn't mean she is innocent, but let's look at it piece by piece. First off, I wouldn't call her a scammer. She wasn't asking you for money or pressuring you into anything. So the most that we can say at this point is that she might have been disloyal. But let's look at that too. Now, I didn't see the photo you're talking about, so I don't know how obvious it was. Was there just a hint of the edge of it, or was it popping out and saying hello? You know, everyone has different ideas about what's objectionable, and what shocks one person barely even faces someone else. Is it possible she didn't even realize there was a boob on the loose? When it comes to any image of myself, I go over it with a magnifying glass before I release it. But even I miss things sometimes. And since you say that all her photos were quite modest, could it be that she just didn't catch it? If a woman's gonna start showing her body, it's rare that she'll stop at a chest berry. They usually get more and more revealing as time goes on. So either this was an accident, or she's just decided to stick more than her toe in the dating pool. I know you had this image of her as being shy, but let me explain something about Filipinas. We almost all call ourselves shy, especially compared to modern women from other countries. We know you think it's funny when we wear our street clothes to go to the beach, or the way we carefully cross our legs when we sit down in a dress. But the word shy isn't really correct. It's more like we're afraid to do anything that calls attention to ourselves in public. In private, however, we're often just as outgoing as anyone else. And it seems like a split personality to you guys that have labeled us as shy. So even if she sent that photo on purpose, she might still consider herself modest. But the photo's not what bothers me, because there's a much more obvious red flag. Your friend. Now here's the question that only you can answer. And to me, it determines what you should do next. What was the understanding you had with her about talking to other people? Did you agree to an exclusive relationship? Or was it just assumed because you both said, I love you, and you were coming to meet? To you, once people start talking like that, it might seem like it's all wrapped up. But here's another weird little thing about Filipinas. Some of you guys out there are gonna think I'm just covering for the sisterhood, but this happens to be true. When we say we love you, especially on a dating site before we've even laid eyes on you, don't take it literally. For us, it can mean I really like you and I can see future potential. But it doesn't always mean that we close our doors to other conversations. Now, I don't know what kind of deal you had with her, but since you said her English was bad, could it be that you two were on slightly different pages with different expectations? The fact that she went silent on you could be nothing more than being embarrassed by the whole situation and maybe by the talk of the infamous photo. I have no clue, but for a simple provincial woman with bad English to get accused by several foreigners of being inappropriate, going quiet doesn't sound like a bizarre reaction. The fact that she wants to talk it out is a good sign. And if you didn't clearly define your relationship earlier, then talking to her is exactly what I do. Don't run just yet. Let her tell her side of the story before you pull the plug. Well, that was a long one, so let's jump into the next. This one's from a comment by John B., location unknown. John says, my fiance went and got a full arm sleeve tattoo without asking me if I thought it would be okay. Oh no. Now she has an arm that looks like a bathroom wall, and I have to look at it when we're intimate. It's not even flowers or anything feminine. It's a satanic-looking skull atrocity. I was so angry, and I told her she looks like a public bathroom with that garbage on her body. I was not gentle because I wanted to drive the point home that you don't set that example for our future kids. And I don't want them growing up to trash their bodies and look like drug addicts. This is one of our largest fights. But one thing I've learned about Filipinas is that you have to stand your ground, or it seems like they'll exploit every loophole. I'm very disappointed in her, and I feel this was a childish move. I will no longer call her beautiful because she destroyed her feminine looks and natural beauty. This was not an accident with a truck. It was deliberate and without counsel. I feel betrayed, and I don't know what this will do to our relationship. Ouch, John. What a nasty situation that you had nothing to do with. Well, it sounds like you have two separate issues, the tattoo itself and the fact that she made a permanent modification to her body without even asking what you thought about it. And you'll have to overcome both of them if you want to continue with her. You said she was your fiancé, so you still have time to decide how to handle it. As far as the tattoo, it's a matter of personal taste, so it's really hard to give an answer. My feelings about things like tattoos and body piercings are irrelevant. It's all about how you feel. And after reading your email, I think we all know. If she's willing, there's always the option of tattoo removal. But I researched the subject for you, and the results are mixed. It sounds like a big one, so no matter what method you use, a shadow of the original image will probably remain. And then there's the cost. Laser removal looks like the best option, but it can cost from many hundreds of dollars for a small job to thousands of dollars for a larger area, and the results are never guaranteed. But even if you come to a decision about the tattoo, you have an even bigger issue. Can you forgive her? Is she willful and disagreeable in other ways, or was this just an anomaly, a one-time lapse in judgment? And what was her motivation for doing it in the first place? Did she actually think you'd be pleased, or did she do this purely because she wanted to, and then try to pass it off as some kind of thoughtful gift? Those are the questions I can't answer, but they might make a big difference in what you decide to do. If it's really upset you that much, then my advice is to put your marriage plans on hold until enough time has passed that you can think about it clearly without emotion getting in the way. I know they say that time heals all wounds, but it's a little more difficult when the wound is staring you in the face for all eternity. But whatever you decide, at least you'll have a better idea of how to handle it next time. When she comes home with a pierced labia. I'm sorry, I can't help it. But seriously though, I wish I had a definitive answer for you, but all I can do is ask more questions that you have to answer on your own. Please let me know what happens and if you're still together. I'm really intrigued. So our final email of the day comes from James T. in Kirkland, Washington. And yes, I see what you did there, James T., if that's even your real name. Anyway, he writes, Dear P, I recently arrived in the Philippines for the first time, so I'm new to dating Filipinas. Welcome to the Philippines! I saw a lot of videos about your country and your culture before I got there, and I even saw your video about crazy Filipina ninja tactics, but I thought you were exaggerating. That's one of my favorite videos. I think it's like one of my first 10, where I talked about all the crazy things we do to keep track of our men. It was a comedy, but no, I wasn't exaggerating. Sad to say. So I dated this one girl and she just kept getting into my personal space. If I sat down, she sat on my lap. If I laid on the couch, she'd lay on top of me without asking. She just wouldn't get the hint that the date was over. And she kept texting me and dropping by unannounced. So I quit texting her back. I figured she was just a weirdo. So I started dating this other girl. And she was even worse. I swear to God, whenever I stand up, she immediately stands up to follow me, even if I'm headed to the bathroom. I literally have to lock the door to keep her out. And I feel like I'm suffocating. Is this really what all Filipinas are like? Or did I just get the left side of the bell curve on the normal chart? Oh, James, now that's funny. I think the first thing you should do is open the door when you're done and let her suffocate to teach her a lesson. But yes, I'm afraid I have some bad news for you. While we're not all that bad, Filipinos are almost universally clingy. We like to be overly affectionate, and that includes constant physical contact. When we bond with you, we literally bond with you. We're talking super glue here. Some guys love it, some guys hate it. But for a Filipina, it's an instinctive reaction. Now, some of you might think it's a need for constant validation. But to be honest, it's mostly just insecurity. If you're not with us, you might be with someone else, even in the time it takes to get from the couch to the refrigerator. I know it's weird and it can be overwhelming, but it's just one of those quirky little things that make us Filipinas. Anyway, that's it for today, and I'll be back on Friday with a very illuminating interview. Till next time, folks. If you think about it, I'm kind of like your stewardess, making sure you stay in an upright position during the video and guiding you to the exits. The exits of all your worries about life in the Philippines. The captain has asked that you please give a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to this channel. And for your entertainment, we have a selection of other in-flight movies for you to enjoy. In the case of an emergency landing, place your head between your knees and kiss your ass goodbye. Have a nice flight!